My son's wife was in the shower when her boyfriend texted her. "I can't wait to see you." I replied for her to understand why I did something so bold, so reckless. You'd have to understand what my house had become over the past year, how the warmth I once cherished had turned into a quiet battlefield, the moment my son brought her into our lives. She had a way of making you feel unwelcome without saying a single direct word. A lingering glare. A half smirk. A sigh loud enough to be heard through walls. Every movement she made seemed carefully designed to remind me I was old, slow, and in her mind, unnecessary. I tried to brush it off. I told myself I was imagining her contempt, because adjusting to a new family member can be messy. But there's a difference between misunderstanding someone and being intentionally belittled. She never said good morning. Never responded when I asked if she needed help. If I sat on the couch, she stood. If I stood, she left the room. My presence bothered her, and she didn't hide it. My son noticed, but he was blinded by that early stage, all-consuming love. He thought her coldness was just her personality. I didn't want to burden him with my discomfort. I didn't want to make him choose sides. So I kept my distance, staying out of their way, eating my meals quietly, staying in my room more often than I wanted to. A man shouldn't have to feel like a guest in his own home. But life has a way of lowering your pride inch by inch until you barely recognize yourself. And beneath all of that, tension lurked something even darker, something I sensed long before I had proof. Phone calls taken in hushed whispers behind the bathroom door. Quick swipes closing her screen the moment someone approached. Sudden, suspiciously timed outings that never matched the explanation she gave. I wasn't searching for betrayal, but betrayal kept brushing past me like a cold wind in a warm room. One night, I overheard her in the kitchen. Her voice was soft, far softer than anything she ever used with my son. She said, "Not tonight. He's still awake," then laughed quietly in that shy way lovers do. It hit me hard. My son was asleep upstairs, unaware that the woman he trusted was emotionally elsewhere. I stood in the hallway for several minutes afterward, feeling something heavy sink inside my chest, but even then, I stayed silent. I didn't want to tear my son's life apart based on suspicion alone. I didn't want to be the reason for his heartbreak. I kept waiting for proof, hoping I was wrong. Hoping she wasn't capable of the very thing she accused me of, being intrusive. That morning, though, that's when fate placed the truth directly into my hands. The bathroom shower was running. Steam drifted underneath the door and filled the hallway. She was humming light, pretty, carefree, as if she didn't have a secret lover texting her every other night. Her phone lit up on the dresser outside the bathroom. I wasn't trying to snoop. I wasn't even near it, but when the screen faced upward, bright and buzzing, the name caught my attention immediately. I saw the message preview clearly. "I can't wait to see you. Tonight." My heart dropped, not because I was shocked. I wasn't, because seeing the truth, spelled out, removed the last excuse I had been allowing myself. I stared at the phone for a long moment. Too long. The messages kept coming. One after another, impatient, needy, intimate. And all the while, she kept singing inside that shower, blissfully unaware that her lies were vibrating loudly in the quiet hallway. I wish I could say I paused to think rationally. But something inside me snapped, not in anger, but in exhaustion. I was tired of carrying the weight of her deception alone. Tired of watching my son devote himself to someone who couldn't even stay loyal while he slept under the same roof. The phone buzzed again. My hand moved on its own. I picked it up. I unlocked it. She didn't even have a passcode. Her whole chat history with him was right there. Pictures, times they met, words she never once said to my son. And then his last message. "When can I come over?" I didn't hesitate. My fingers typed 5 words with the steadiness of a man who'd reached his breaking point. "Come over. My husband isn't home." The moment I hit send, my stomach tightened. Not with fear, but with the cold clarity that comes right before a storm. Placed the phone exactly where it had been and walked into the living room. My hands felt heavy. My chest felt hollow. I could still hear her humming upstairs, completely unaware her world had shifted in the span of 10 seconds. 10 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Her humming stopped instantly. The water turned off. There was a beat of silence, sharp, tense, and then hurried footsteps behind the bathroom door. I could hear the shower curtain rustle, her hands fumbling for a towel, the wet slap of her feet against the tile. She rushed out onto the landing, dripping, her hair plastered to her shoulders. When she heard the doorbell again, louder this time, her face went white. She clutched the railing with shaking fingers. Who is that?" She breathed, but she already knew. She knew before I even turned my head toward her. There are moments in life when the masks people wear fall off in a single heartbeat. This was one of them. In the real story, my story had just begun. For the next 10 minutes after reading that message from her secret boyfriend, I just sat there on the edge of the bed, staring at her phone and replaying the last 2 years of my son's marriage inside my head. My son's wife was in the shower when her boyfriend texted her, "I can't wait to see you." Those words didn't just sting. They confirmed the truth I had suspected, but never had the heart to voice. I could still hear the water running in the bathroom, the sound of her humming casually as if she wasn't betraying the man who had loved her more than his own soul. My son, Daniel, always defended her. Always. He worked double shifts. He brought her gifts. He blamed himself whenever she was in a bad mood, and this is what she was doing behind his back. Inside me, two emotions fought: rage and clarity. Rage because I raised a boy with a pure heart who didn't deserve this. Clarity because finally, I had evidence that no one could deny. The phone buzzed again. Another message from the same contact, name saved as just one emoji. A heart, not even a name. Just a symbol of betrayal. This time he wrote, "Is he gone? I'm coming early if you want me." I looked toward the bathroom door. The steam seeped out from the top, and her silhouette moved behind the frosted glass. She was completely unaware that her world had already begun to collapse. My hands, surprisingly, didn't shake. My anger didn't come out in shouts or curses. Instead, it settled into something sharper, calmer, and far more dangerous. A plan. I typed back slowly, deliberately, choosing each word with precision. The same precision she should have used before destroying my son's life. "Come over. My husband isn't home today." I hit send, and then I waited. Every second felt stretched. Every heartbeat echoed in the room. Every sound in the house became louder. The humming behind the bathroom door turned carefree again. She had no idea. Her phone buzzed almost instantly. Be there in 10. Of course he would. Of course a man like him wouldn't hesitate. He wasn't risking anything. My son was the one losing everything. I stood up and placed the phone exactly where it had been. Screen facing down, same angle, same position. She wouldn't notice a thing. Then I left the bedroom quietly and walked to the living room. Sat in the armchair near the door. Folded my hands, waited. And as the minutes passed, I remembered all the time she dismissed my son's efforts. All the arguments she started. All the nights he slept on the couch because she said she needed space. Space to cheat. Space to lie. Space to pretend. And now, the space she treasured was about to choke her. At exactly the 10-minute mark, the doorbell rang. A loud, sharp ding-dong. I didn't move. I didn't flinch. I just watched the front door. Inside the bathroom, the humming stopped. She froze in shock, because she knew that bell wasn't supposed to ring. Not today. Not while her husband was gone. Not while she was still dripping in the shower. Her entire double life had arrived at the doorstep. And she had no idea I was the one who invited it. The second the doorbell rang, her humming died mid-note. A sharp silence fell over the entire house, like every wall suddenly learned the truth and was holding its breath, waiting for what would happen next. From where I sat, I could hear the rustle of the shower curtain sliding open in confusion. I could almost picture her expression, eyes wide, heart pounding, brain scrambling to understand how her secret boyfriend could be outside when her husband was supposed to be at work. Another ring. This time longer. More impatient. Ding dash dong. Her footsteps pattered quickly on the bathroom floor, panic slicing through each one. I heard the soft slap of wet feet on tile, then the frantic shuffling as she grabbed the towel. She didn't even bother drying off properly, just wrapped it around herself and cracked the bathroom door an inch. "Daniel?" She called out softly, testing the air, but she didn't hear Daniel's voice. She heard mine. "I'd hurry up if I were you," I said calmly. "Your guest is on time." The bathroom door froze, then slowly creaked open another inch. She peeked out with dripping hair and confusion turning into dawning horror. What guest?" she tried to ask, though her voice trembled so badly the sentence collapsed halfway. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. She knew. She knew exactly who was standing on the other side of that door. And in that moment, she also knew something else. Her secret was no longer a secret. Inside her, a silent war erupted. Should she run? Hide? Pretend nothing was wrong? Lie? Cry? Beg? The fear in her eyes told me she hadn't decided yet. The doorbell rang again, this time accompanied by a light knocking. "Babe? You there?" His voice. The same man who had texted her minutes ago. The same man she thought she'd brought into the house behind my son's back. Her breath hitched sharply. Her hands shook as she held onto her towel for dear life, as if modesty mattered anymore. She had already stripped herself of something far more important, trust. "Why are you here?" she whispered, barely able to form the words. As if I had done something wrong. As if she wasn't the one whose lies were arriving in human form at the front door. I stood up slowly from the chair, letting the legs scrape against the floor just enough to make her flinch. "You told him to come," I said. "Or at least, he thinks your husband isn't home today." Her jaw dropped. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Her eyes darted around the room, desperate to find her phone. Desperate to rewrite history. Desperate for some explanation that could undo the obvious. She found the phone on the dresser. She lunged for it. She grabbed it with wet hands and tapped frantically on the screen, trying to unlock it, trying to scroll to the messages, trying to convince herself that maybe, somehow, maybe she was imagining all this. She wasn't. When she reached the chat, her mouth fell open. She covered her lips with her trembling fingers as she read the message I had sent. "Come over. My husband isn't home today." The color drained from her face. She looked like she might faint. Her knees wobbled. Her breathing collapsed into short, desperate bursts. I didn't send that. I didn't, I swear," she stuttered, trying to convince herself more than me. "I know you didn't," I replied. And yet here we are. Another knock at the door. "Harder this time. Open up," the boyfriend said. "You said your husband wasn't home." Her eyes widened even more at those words. Her own lie repeated back to her through the front door. She sprinted toward the bedroom mirror, desperately tying her hair, fixing the towel, trying to make herself look less guilty, less vulnerable, less like a woman caught in the middle of betrayal. Then she turned to me. "What did you do?" she whispered, voice almost cracking in half. "I didn't do anything," I said. "You brought this to the door." "I just let him in." The truth landed on her like a collapse of bricks. She stumbled backward, gripping the dresser for balance. "You can't let him in. You can't heal Daniel this," she stammered, falling apart word by word. "Relax," I said calmly. "I'm not letting him in." She exhaled shakily, almost collapsing in relief. "Not yet." Her head snapped up. What? Do you mean not yet? I took one step closer. She took one step back. You've lied to my son long enough, I said quietly. You've played him long enough. Humiliated him long enough. Used him long enough. Her lips trembled. No, please. Please don't do this. You're right, I said softly. I won't do anything. She blinked rapidly, confused. But your boyfriend? I continued. He's already here. Her breath stopped completely. You can tell him the truth, I said. Or let him walk into a home he thought belonged to a fool. She shook her head violently. No dash, no dash, no dash, please. Don't open that door, please don't. But it was too late, because at that exact moment, the front doorknob twisted. The boyfriend wasn't waiting anymore. He was coming in, and she was about to come face to face with the consequences of her betrayal. The front doorknob twisted with a slow, grinding sound, the kind that instantly silences every thought in your head. For a moment, even the air in the house seemed to freeze. She clutched her towel tighter around her body, every muscle in her shaking with panic, eyes buzzing with fear and dread. Nitrogen monoxide, wait, don't come in. She screamed, sprinting toward the hallway with dripping wet feet. But she was too late. The door swung open. Her boyfriend, mid-20s. Smug, confident, clearly expecting a private afternoon, stepped across the threshold with a grin. Baby, what took you so low? He stopped dead. His eyes met mine. His grin disintegrated instantly. Behind him, the afternoon sunlight cast his silhouette long across the living room floor, making him look even more out of place, an intruder in a life he didn't belong in. Who the hell are you? He demanded, swallowing hard. Before I answered, she appeared in the hallway, hair soaked, cheeks burning red, wrapped only in a towel, looking like guilt itself had taken human form. He stared at her, then at me, then back at her. Realization hit him like a train. You said your husband wasn't home, he said slowly, voice cracking. He isn't. That's not him. She shrieked, pointing at me as if I were the problem. I raised an eyebrow. The boyfriend blinked, confused. Then who is he? I'm her husband's father, I said calmly. My son is at work. I, however, came home early. The boyfriend's face drained of all color. His swagger vanished. He glanced at the front door, as if calculating if he could sprint back to his car before anything worse happened. But she realized something he didn't. I wasn't angry. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't threatening. I was calm. And a calm old man is the most dangerous kind, because he's not acting out of emotion. He's acting out of intention. Wait! She cried, chasing after the boyfriend as he stepped backward. This is not what it looks like. He set me up. He spun toward her. Set you up? You wrote that message. I didn't. I swear, look at my phone, please, just listen. He grabbed the phone from her trembling hands. His eyes narrowed as he scrolled through the messages. Then he saw it. Her message. Come over. My husband isn't home today. His jaw tightened. You really thought I wouldn't find out the truth someday? I asked her quietly. She looked at me with hateful eyes. This is your fault. You ruined everything. No, I said, stepping closer. You ruined everything the moment you used my son's trust like a doormat. Her boyfriend suddenly threw the phone onto the couch, anger boiling in his face. You told me he didn't treat you right. He spit out. You told me you were miserable, stuck, lonely. I am. She cried. I was just waiting for the right moment to leave him. A moment you never planned to create. I interrupted. She glared at me, breathing hard. How dare you judge me? You don't know how unhappy I am. I stared her straight in the eye. I know you're unhappy, I said. Unhappy women cry. They talk, they break down. You just lie. Her boyfriend crossed his arms. So what now? He asked, looking between us. You call the police? You tell your son? I shook my head. No. Both of them froze. What? She whispered. I said no. I won't tell him. A hopeful spark flickered across her face, but it died instantly when I added, because I want him to see the truth for himself. Without me. Without explanations. Without interference. Her lips parted. What does that mean? It means, I continued, that your life is no longer my responsibility. Your choices, your lies, your lovers, your consequences, they're all yours now. The boyfriend took a step back. I should go. Yes, I said. You should. He bolted through the door without another word. She turned to me, eyes wide in disbelief. You can't leave me like this. Please, please don't tell your son. I'm not telling him, I repeated. He will find out another way. How? I walked past her toward the table and picked up the object she had failed to notice earlier. The home security camera tablet. Live feed. Recording. Audio included. Her mouth dropped open, a silent scream trapped behind her teeth. You installed cameras? She whispered. No, I said. You did. Last year. Because you said the neighborhood wasn't safe. She collapsed on the couch as the truth suffocated her. Every message. Every word. Every kiss she shared in that living room. Every quiet phone call. Every sigh. Every lie. Recorded. Not by me. By her own paranoia. Within the hour, I said softly, my son will get an automatic cloud backup notification. He'll open it. And he'll see everything. She broke. Sobs tore out of her. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Please. Please don't do this. I'll do anything. I'll apologize. I opened the front door. Save your apologies for him. She reached out to grab my arm, but I stepped away. You brought this to your own doorstep, I said. And now, he'll answer the door. I left the house without looking back once. Behind me, her cries echoed through the hallway, the sound of a woman watching her carefully. Built web of lies collapsed thread by thread. When the door closed, I whispered to myself, 10 minutes from now, the cloud upload will finish. And for the first time that day, I smiled.